Hey, awesome people. Welcome back to our fractions series. Mr. C here, and am I pumped as ever to have you here with us today. If you've been following along, we are right in the middle of fractions, and it is just getting better and better. Today, we've got some really awesome things for you. I'm going to tell you what we're learning today. Before I do that, if you end up learning anything from any of these videos, make sure you click the like button, click the subscribe if you want to know what we're learning next. I love having more and more people join us on this journey as we make math understandable and challenging. With that being said, we are talking about equivalent fractions today. We are going to be working on equivalent fractions, and this is such an important concept. I could not say this any more intensely. This is super important. Understanding equivalent fractions and what they are and what they do and what they look like and how fractions can be equivalent is really important as you get older, as you move to more and more complex fraction problems, but really just understanding what equivalent even means is really important. I put the Oklahoma standard down here as well. Notice Oklahoma doesn't really have specific language around equivalent fractions. This was as close as I could get, where it's just talking about real world and mathematical situations using fractions. All right. If you hadn't had a chance, I will put the videos that we've already done in the description below. We've already talked about a lot with fractions. We've talked about partitioning them. We've talked about shading in different sections and being able to identify it. We've talked about numerators and denominators. What are they? Why is that important to know? We've used number lines. We've done all types of things. We've also started way back in second grade talking about halves and thirds and fourths and how to make fractions. So if you haven't seen any of those, make sure you watch those. They are all in the description below. Today, like I said, we are focusing on equivalent fractions. Make sure you have that notebook, pencil, paper, whiteboard, something to be able to work on it. So let's jump into this really important concept. All right, so before we can really talk about equivalent fractions, I want to make sure that I talk about, like we do in every video, the importance of having the correct mindset. Make sure you have a growth mindset. What we mean by that is be okay with a challenge, be okay with doing something new, be okay with making mistakes. You're going to use those mistakes to help you get better. Don't beat yourself up if you make a mistake. Look at the problem, be like, ooh, this is where I messed up. Boom, perfect. Figure it out. Don't make the mistake again. All right. Growth mindset means that you just don't know something yet, and that's why you're here. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. My first question for you today is, what does this word here mean? Okay. What does this word equal mean? You've heard this word ever since really you were probably in preschool, the word equal. And the word equal, the best way to kind of say it is it means the same. Okay, it means the same. And what we mean by that is when we say it means the same, it means that if you had a number, let's say you have the number 3, well, 3 is equal to 3. Those are equal. They're the same. If you had the number 17, that is equal to 17. Okay, the word equal means the same, and that's something you already know. Now, the new part of this today is this big word here. It looks really similar to this word equal, and that's because it is. It's very similar. The word equivalent means, I bet you already know what it means. The word equivalent means the same. All right? Equal, equivalent, they are the same. They are basically mean the same exact thing. So when you have the word equivalent, you again are talking about the same. So if you had the fraction, or say you had a $20 bill and somebody else had $20, well, you have the same amount of money. You both have 20 bucks. If you had 6 cookies and somebody else had 6 cookies, well, you've got the same. You've got an equivalent amount. Equal means that they're the same. Okay. That is something you already know. That shouldn't be anything that's fresh or anything that's new to you. Here is where the new stuff is going to come into play. All right. The new thing that we're going to be talking about today is the word equivalent fractions. And I bet you can already figure out what that word even means. Equivalent fractions, let me change the color of all this. Equivalent fractions means, well, I thought I was changing the color of it. Come on now. There we go. Equivalent fractions means fractions that are equal or the same. Okay? Equivalent fractions means that they are fractions that are equal or the same. Now, just a quick little example here for you before we dig into some other ones. What that means is, let's say you have the fraction 1/2. Well, 1/2 is equivalent or equal to 1/2. These are the same. Those fractions are equal to each other. Let's say you have the fractions 2/3. Well, 2/3 is equivalent to 2/3. These are equivalent fractions. What we're going to show you more examples of today is saying you had the fractions 1/2 and you had the fraction 4/8. Are those equivalent? And that's what we're going to be talking about today, is giving you more examples of what equivalent fractions are. Okay? But if you know what the word equal is, if you know what the word equivalent means, then you can already figure out what equivalent fractions means. That means that they are fractions that are equal. And to show you this today, I'm going to be using a number line. So, like I said, if you don't have a pencil, paper, something like that, that's all right. But I always recommend having something to be able to draw and be able to work them out. Math is something that if you can visually see it, that's the best way to kind of learn it. Okay, so let's look at some actual number lines and see if we can create some equivalent fractions. Alright, so I went ahead and put a couple of number lines up here on the screen, and if you don't remember how to show fractions on number lines, check the description below. I do have some videos for you. We've done this in our other ones. So here is 1/2. That's what we're going to start with. I want you to take 1/2 and I want you to partition this number line and put 1/2 on this number line. Okay, so take a look at this number line, draw it if you need to, give you a second to do it. I want you to put 1/2 on this number line where it would go. Pause the video. Alright, so hopefully you paused it. I'm going to show you how I would go about doing this. My denominator tells me how many equal parts to break this into, this number line into, how many equal sections, how to partition, which means to divide. So we need 2 equal sections, okay? So with that being said, I'm going to divide this number line into 2 equal sections. Here is 1 section, 2 sections. Notice they are equal. 1, 2, 3, 4 sections here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 sections there. Okay. Now, where I'm going to put 1/2 at is whatever my numerator says. My numerator says I'm going to put it at the first section we partitioned it. Okay. The numerator tells me what section to put our fraction at. So it is a 1. So we're going to go over 1 time. We start at 0. We're going to go over 1 time. And here we go right here. I'm going to change. Let's see if I can put a big dot there. Yeah, there we go. All right, so this is where 1/2 is at. Okay? So 1/2 goes from 0 to 1/2. Okay, 0 to 1/2. That's how much 1/2 is. Okay? Now, let's take a look at another fraction. And this fraction that we're going to take a look at is the fraction 2/4. Okay, 2/4. And what I want you to do is the same thing we just did on 1/2. I want you to take 2/4 and I want you to partition it on this number line. Show us 2/4 on this number line. Okay, pause the video and show us where 2/4 is. Hopefully you paused it and gave it a shot yourself. I'm going to break this number line into however many my denominator is. My denominator is the number 4, so I need 4 equal sections on my number line. I need to partition this into 4ths. So here we go. Let me do it real quick. All right, let's see if I did this correctly. I've got 1 section, 2 sections, 3 sections, 4 sections. Notice I don't put my other little section, I don't draw it in there. You can. It's something that you'll get used to and you don't have to. But notice again, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, taking a look at our numerator is 2. So we need to put our 2/4 wherever 2 sections would be at. So let's take a look. We start at 0. We've got to go over 2 equal sections. 1, 2. Here we go. We're going to be right here. I'm going to put a big old dot there. All right, this is where 2/4 is at. So what do you notice? What do you notice about 1/2 and 2/4? What are you noticing on these number lines? What are you noticing about where 1/2 is located and where 2/4 is located? What are you noticing? I know a lot of you are probably noticing they are the same distance from 0. Do you see how these are the same distance from 0? Do you see how they're the same distance to 1? What does that mean? What does that mean if they are in the same spot? What does that mean if they're both in the middle of 0 and 1? What does that mean? Well, if you remember from what we just talked about, that means that these two fractions are equivalent. Equivalent fractions. Meaning they are what? When we say the word equivalent, that means what? That means equal. That means equal. That means that 1/2 is equal to what? To 2/4. Okay, we're showing you this on a number line. This number line shows us that they are equal, even though 2/4 is broken up into 4 equal sections. If you have the fraction 2/4, that is equal to 1/2. Okay, that's something that's a little bit new. That may be new for some of you, and that's great. All right, challenge yourself. Be okay with kind of pushing the boundaries here. All right, I'm going to show you another one. I'm going to show you another one. See if it is an equivalent fraction. Okay, try one more. All right, got a fresh one here on the screen for you. This time we've got 2 fractions, just like in the other one. The first fraction I want you to worry about is 1/2. So I want you to draw a number line and partition it for 1/2. And then for the second fraction, I want you to draw a number line and partition it into 3/6. And we want to see, are these equivalent fractions? Okay, that's what we're trying to prove right now. Are these equivalent fractions? So pause the video, see if you can map out or partition both of these fractions, and then tune back in with me as I work through each of them. Hopefully you've paused the video. Let's take a look at 1/2 to get started. Okay, 1/2, we need to partition it into how many equal parts? Hopefully you're catching on. The denominator tells us how many equal parts to partition it. So we need 2 equal sections. Here is 1, 2. I could put the second one over here if I want to. All right. Where am I going to put my point at? And I'm going to make my points black this time so they stand out a little bit more. At 1/2. So here we go. We start at 0. We need to go over 1 equal section. Boom. There's 1. This is where 1/2 is going to be located. Let me rewrite that so it's a little bit easier to see. There we go. All right, 1/2 right here. Man, I am doing a bad job of writing it. There we go, 1/2. All right. Now, the other fraction we had was the fraction 3/6. So, what's our denominator in this fraction? The denominator is 6. So that tells us how many equal sections we're going to need. We're going to need 6 equal sections. Okay, so here we go. I always do my middle one first, or the 3, because I had to do 6 of them. So there's a third one. There we go. Boom. All right. Now, I've got 6 of them up here. Let me prove it to you that I've got 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6 equal sections. Now, our fraction is 3/6. So when we are putting our point, we need to go over 3. So here we go. We start at 0. 1, 2, 3. Here we are. I'll show you that one more time. We start here. 1, 2, 3. There is where 3/6 would be at. Let me label that for you. This is where 3/6 is at. All right. My question to you is, first, what do you notice? What are you noticing about these two fractions? What do you notice about 1/2? What do you notice about 3/6? Okay. Maybe you notice that they are equal distance between 0 to 1/2. They're equal distance from 0 to 3/6. They're the same distance here. They're the same distance to 1 for both of them. Maybe you notice that they're both in the middle. Do you see that? Both of them are in the middle. So my question to you is, are these equivalent fractions? Are these equivalent fractions? Are they equal to each other? Are they equal? Are they equivalent fractions? And you should be able to notice that they are both in the middle. They are equal distance from 0 to 1, meaning that 1/2 is an equivalent fraction to 3/6. 1/2 is equal to 3/6. Okay, so let me show you something real quick. I'm going to bring this up here for you. So here is 1/2. I'm going to bring it up here on the screen so you can see it. There we go. All right, here is 1/2. I'm actually going to scroll down a little bit so it makes it easier to see. Here's 1/2. This is what it looks like for 1/2. And now I'm going to show you if you had 6. Okay, these are what we call fraction bars. Okay, take a look at this. Do you notice that in our problem that we just did, we had 3/6, which is from here all the way to here? We had 3/6, and then we had 1/2. Do you see how 1/2 and 3/6, how they are equal? You can look at this. My favorite way to kind of look at it is look at it like this. Here's 1, 2, 3. That is 3/6. And here is 1/2, so that's 1/2. So if you look at those two and we scroll back up to our problem, notice what we did is we just made a number line. We made a number line to prove that 1/2 is an equivalent fraction to 3/6. Okay, this is something that can be kind of confusing and stuff. The best way to do it is just get more and more practice with it, and so that's what we're going to do. Got one more for you. All right, last one for you in this video. I've got 2 new fractions. I've got 1/2 and I've got 1/3. I've got my number line up here. I want you to go ahead, pause the video, try to go ahead and partition these number lines into 1/2 and partition this number line into 1/3, and then we're going to see, are these equivalent fractions? Pause it, then I'll try it. Hopefully you paused the video and you gave this one a shot on your own. If not, follow along with me and I'll help you out. Our denominator is 2, so we're going to need 2 equal sections here. So here is one section. Here's my second section. And 1, our numerator tells us how many over to go, how many equal sections we need to count. We're going to count 1 equal section, and that's going to put us right here. And I'm going to label that 1/2. All right, we've done a half several times. You're probably getting really good at it. Now, I've put a new fraction down here that we haven't talked about yet, and that fraction is 1/3. So let's break this one up. Let's partition it. What's our denominator? It's 3, so we need 3 equal sections. There's 1, there's 2, and there would be the third one. All right, what's our numerator? The numerator is 1, so that's how many equal sections we need to count over. Here we go. 1. So this is where we put our point, and we're going to label that. What fraction are we labeling this? This is going to be 1/3. Let me rewrite that real quick. There we go, 1/3. All right, just notice, okay, take a look. What do you notice about these two fractions? What are you noticing? All right, maybe you notice that this fraction, this number line, is partitioned into 3 equal sections, 1, 2, 3. This number line is partitioned into 2 equal sections. Here's my question for you now. Are these two fractions equivalent? Is 1/2 equal to 1/3? Is 1/2 equal to 1/3? How would you know? If you said yes, they are, how do you know? If you said no, they're not, how do you know? Here's how you know. 1/2 is located right in the middle of this number line. 1/3 is located 1/3 of the way up the number line. Do you notice how 1/3 is closer to 0? 1/2 is further from 0. 1/3 is closer to 0. So these are not equal. Notice 1/3 is located here on the number line. Are these two lined up? Are they equal distance from 0? Are they an equal distance to 1? No. 1/2 is closer to 1. Look at 1/3. It's further away to 1 than 1/2 is. So if you're looking at this and we're trying to figure out, well, 1/2 does not equal. Notice I put an equal sign and then I mark through it. That means is not equal. 1/2 is not equal to 1/3. These are not equivalent fractions because they are not equal distance from 0 and 1. Okay, let me show you the fraction bar so you can see that as well. Notice 1/2 is located right here. Here is 1/3. Do you notice how they're not an equal size? They're not equal. 1/2 is bigger than 1/3. So these are not equivalent fractions. That's what we are proving on our number line. Our number line proves that these are not equivalent fractions. There's our fraction bar to kind of prove that as well. Equivalent fractions are really, really important. What I challenge you to do is try some on your own. Draw a number line, draw some fractions, partition the number line, see if you can find any more equivalent fractions. Okay, this is something that's really important to understand. Equivalent fractions is going to take practice. So make sure you rewatch this video if you need to. I've got another video where we're going to talk more in depth about equivalent fractions. Thanks for tuning into this video. I am super pumped about this fractions journey because there's so much to learn with it. Make sure you click the like button if you learned anything at all. Click the like, click the subscribe. I would love to have you continue on this journey as we are making math understandable and challenging. That's all I have for you today. Mr. C out.